Are you a rider that prioritizes fun over going fast? Are you looking for side hits and all the ways you can get sideways out on the trail? Today's video might be for you, where we dissect two of Pivot's 27.5-inch wheel mountain bikes. That's right, the fun size. Let's dig into the Shadowcat and the Mach 6. Are you okay? So normally our dissected videos are an opportunity for us to showcase brand new bikes that are out on the market, neat new technology, and today we're going to be visiting some bikes that maybe aren't the newest, but they are pretty dang cool. And that is the Shadowcat, which is a 140, 160 mil, 27.5-inch trail bike, and the Mach 6, which many would say is the 27.5-inch version of Pivot's enduro race winning Firebird. So this is a 158 mil rear travel with a 160 up front. There are a variety of builds coming in a wide range of prices. And today we're going to talk to you guys about some of the features and what makes each of these bikes unique and what type of riding style we'll be able to capitalize on these 27.5-inch bikes. So first up, let's take a look at the Shadowcat. As I said, it is a 140, 160 bike in this configuration. It is available in extra small through large with retail prices from $61.99 up to $13,599. Our model right here comes in at $97.99. The size large Shadowcat, which we are testing here, has got a 480 millimeter reach with a 623 mil stack height, a 340 millimeter bottom bracket height, 430 mil chain stays, a 76 degree seat tube angle, and a 65.8 degree head tube angle. So next up, let's take a quick look at the Mach 6. The Mach 6 starts at $55.99 and goes up to $12,099. Our model here retails for $8,199. This bike also comes in extra small through large and is designed for riders from 4'10" up to 6'2". The Mach 6, unlike the Shadowcat, does have a flip chip to adjust the geometry. We have so far today been riding the bike in the low position, and we will give you those geo numbers. 480 millimeter reach with a 600 mil stack height, a 353 millimeter bottom bracket height, 431 millimeter chain stays, a 75.5 degree seat tube angle with a 65 degree head tube angle, and a total wheelbase of 1,233 mil. Asking your friends is fun. So again, both of these bikes are available in a pretty wide range of component spec. You've got everything from, air or coil options. You've got abilities to go with Fox live valve suspension, or you can do Shimano or SRAM drivetrain. So really the consumer has the ability to pick a bike that fits into their budget and suits the brands that they like. Next, we'll take a look at some of the features shared by both of these bikes. Obviously, being that they are pivots, they're both going to utilize the DW Link suspension platform. The Mach 6, obviously being more of a gravity-focused bike, makes use of the Phoenix DH bike inspired longer link to give a slightly more rearward wheel path and make it a little bit smoother on heavier hits and square edge bumps. Whereas the Shadowcat, being a 140 bike, is definitely gonna be focused more on the all-around trail rider. Impressively, the Shadowcat is only 45 grams more than the Mach 4 SL. This bike was designed to be a replacement for the Mach 5.5, which was Pivot's oldest standing bike and also one of their most popular and top-selling bikes year after year. One of the things that allows Pivot to make this bike and the Mach 6 impressively light for their categories is their technology with carbon fiber. Both of these bikes use their hollow core technology, which also allows Pivot to customize the ride feel and the stiffness characteristics for each size bike to average out the weight for riders of different sizes. So an extra small is going to have different stiffness properties and different ride characteristics than a large is, because typically a small or extra small rider is not going to weigh the same as a large rider, and that is going to yield a smoother, more compliant ride for those smaller riders than if they just had to build every frame to be as stiff as it would need to be for a 220-pound, 6'2" shredder.
I am certainly faster when I take my Firebird to Big Bear on the Firebird. I have way more fun on my Mach 6. And I'm not racing anybody, so
Yeah.
I prefer to take my Mach 6. And then also on stuff like out west here, where you've got to climb up a lot of ledgy things, if you've got the juice in the legs, the Firebird is, I mean, it gets awesome traction. It's great up. It'll climb up anything if you can make it climb up anything, but it's also a big bike. The Mach 6 just goes up that stuff real easy. And even though they're relatively the same travel and similar kinematics and everything, it's just easier to throw around going up and down. And so it makes that hard Western Arizona Moab type climbing a whole lot easier. And then, yeah, you can just pitch the bike around on the descents and everything and have a good time. So
this is going to be for the rider who is looking to go big, get loose, ride sketchy, hit bigger features, spend some time in the bike park, or get loose out in the backcountry. It is designed to have fun, right? Both of these bikes have that in common, and that is the goal: to have fun, be playful, let that bike get sideways out behind you, and generally smile the whole time you're riding it. So as we said, it takes some inspiration from the Phoenix DH with that longer linkage arm to give a little bit more of a rearward wheel path. Also takes a lot of the cues learned from the Firebird and just tones it into a fun and playful package. So it's not necessarily that it's less capable than that Firebird is, but it just might be for the rider who isn't always looking to race the clock, isn't always on the steepest, gnarliest terrain, and maybe sometimes spends a bunch of their ride time out on flatter, more natural backcountry trails where a big, long bike like that Firebird is sometimes just too much, right? A lot of times you'll hear reviewers say that this bike's awesome once you wake it up, right? Like it needs to hit a certain type of speed, terrain to get that bike to come alive and reward you for the efforts you're putting into it. You got to be conscious about weighting that front end. You got to get, you know, physical and put your body into how that bike is riding. And with the 27.5-inch wheeled bikes, I got to be honest, you know, coming into it, it's been a while since I've ridden a 27.5-inch wheeled bike, and I wasn't expecting there to be that big of a difference, especially because I've been riding a lot of mullet bikes lately. But on both the Mach 6 and the Shadowcat, the ability to ride through tight, awkward corners faster, the ability to kind of weave between terrain, and then obviously just trying to, you know, be a hack and style the bike out in the air, right? Whether it's trying to do a table or scrub or whatever it might be. I wasn't expecting there to be this big of a difference with the 27.5-inch wheels front and back, and it made for a really fun day so far on the trails. Obviously, you know, with our Dissecteds, that's not a long-term review. We've only got, you know, a solid day or so on these bikes, just trying to learn the product and get this video shot. But I will say certain things are pretty evident quickly when you're test riding bikes, and the fact that this bike is so playful, both of these bikes are so playful, is one I really didn't expect to notice. Another one that I think was pretty interesting to me was the spin up of the rear, or I should say of both wheels, especially when trying to climb technical stuff, right? Obviously, people for years have been being told 29 has better rollover. It's going to make the bike smoother. It'll save you energy for climbing. And so when we asked Chris, you know, and the Pivot team about that while we were studying up on this project, something that I hadn't thought about was the effort and energy it takes to keep a bigger wheel rolling. So yes, if it's up at speed, it will continue to roll over. However, it can take a little bit more strength and muscle to keep those wheels rolling at speed. And I was kind of not sure how much I would feel a difference on the trail, but there was a couple sections where I would intentionally roll in real slow, and I would see a couple of corners with some steep pitches, and I would enter slow and power pedal as fast as I could. And I was surprised at how fast this bike accelerated and got me over those pitches. Well, I'll take the smile off my face, and while I do that, ask Sour Patch about the Shadowcat.
This thing likes to party on what little good dirt we found. It's light, nimble, floats through the air. Fun bikes, not race bikes.
Pivot bikes, you know, overall, we are always impressed by the fit, the finish, the presentation, right? They are beautiful, well put together bikes. The internal cable routing, you know, whether you're a fan of it or not, it is nicely executed on this bike. They were both incredibly quiet. We were a little skeptical as to how that slim chainstay protector would do in keeping the bike quiet from the chain noise, and it actually did a good job there. Beyond that, everything is tidy, tight, quiet. So it's an impressive package all around, and for the price you're paying for a Pivot, it should be. 27.5-inch wheel bikes, while we have not tested many for a lot of time, still have a place and an application beyond free riders and jumpers who want that smaller wheel diameter. And I think I've realized that a lot more today than I ever have. And that is because these bikes are a lot of fun to ride. Pivot made them with fun in mind, right? If you read their press release material, if you've seen anything from the launches, the goal of this bike was to have a smile on your face. And today, both Sean and I had big smiles on our faces, even when we were, you know, trudging through snow, trying to find shots and places to actually ride the bikes. We were still having fun. These bikes have got really low standover heights. That was like, you know, a big design intention from the Pivot crew for shorter riders up to, you know, trick riders that want to have that low clearance, you know, whether you're doing tricks or you just want to get over the bike and have that secure feeling. If you're not a rider who is regularly racing the clock, maybe you're someone that prefers fun. You don't have to be the shortest rider in the world, right? Sean was 6'1", had a great time on the size large Shadowcat and spent some time on the Mach 6 and enjoyed it as well. Me at 5'11", I felt right at home on these 27.5-inch wheels. And yeah, it's not gonna be the marathon bike. It's not gonna always be the fastest, you know, on the racetrack. However, there are certain types of trails and conditions where a smaller wheel will in fact allow you to be faster. But I don't think that this bike was designed, either of these bikes were designed with all-out speed or racing at the forefront of their design. And that's totally fine, because chances are, if you're watching this, you're not a pro bike racer. So an extra second or two here and there might be worth the trade-off for how much more fun you'll have on these bikes, right? If you watch videos and you see pros flicking their bikes all over the place and having effortless amount of fun, going down to a 27.5-inch wheel might be a whole lot easier for you to try to imitate those actions. So those are the 27.5-inch wheeled options from Pivot, the Shadowcat and the Mach 6. Don't write off 27.5-inch wheels just yet. I think they're not dead. They might be making a comeback. We're gonna be spending a lot more time on these bikes. Please reach out with any questions that you might have, things you want us to take into consideration as we're testing these bikes for the long-term review. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in future videos.